Do you feel random bouts of emotion, sadness, regret, or even the opposite, happiness, love, or arousal? This could be your twin flames' emotions and feelings. Because we have this telepathic soul connection with our twin, sometimes, or oftentimes, we can feel their feelings and they also feel ours. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. That's the thing with this journey. Everything we feel, they feel too. We have to remember that they're our mirror. They're our soul counterpart, our divine counterpart. So what we feel, we feel. What we feel, they feel, and what they feel, we feel. And often it comes in these bouts of emotions or regret. I find this for myself personally, and this happened very early on. I only met my twin, and I'd only known him about a month, and I sent him a message saying that I felt like he was too busy for me. You know, he started to kind of go a little bit cold. And I sent him a message just saying I just didn't feel like he was into this, and I just said, I don't want to be treated like an afterthought. And he didn't reply for about 3 weeks, or a bit more. I'm not sure what it was. And the week of him replying, I could feel this regret. I could feel random tears coming up over him not responding, or, you know, what had happened. And I was like, this is weird. And I was like, maybe I'm going to hear from him soon. And even on the day then that he did text me, I could feel that energy. And every time we've gone into separation, the week before he contacts, I would feel that energy. But what I've noticed is even the day of, I will feel this intense, regretful energy, this pain, this sadness, or this intense love. So I will know when he's actually going to communicate again. So it's very good to, you know, because sometimes we can get confused on this journey. If we think that there are emotions where we get, I find myself anyway, you know, if I'm starting, you know, if I'm not aware of why I'm emotional, it can make us, I suppose, confused or worried even as why are we feeling this way. But if it comes out of nowhere and if there's no cause for it, it can be your twin flames emotion. And what I find with these emotions and these feelings of regret, I will start to think heavily about his actions, stuff that I've already worked through, stuff that I've already healed. And it's still come up really heavy. And I've been driving my car and I've been all of a sudden just start crying because of the emotions that I feel through him. But it can actually go the other way as well. We can feel their love, and I call this the feeling of ecstasy. And this morning, it's funny because I actually started, you know, thinking about this video this morning. And I can literally feel my twin stronger because I'm thinking about the content for this video. And that's the other side of it. We can feel that intense ecstasy rising through our bodies. I call it my soul dancing because I can feel it in my heart chakra and I can feel it in my tummy. And it's like this rush of energy coming through you, this really intense feeling of love. So that's the flip of the switch. Like, it doesn't always have to be negative emotions. And you can also feel their arousal as well. You can feel when they're turned on. You can feel when they're happy, you know, and as I said, you can feel when they're sad. Because there is that telepathic communication there. And you know what I not remembered today, I've remembered this before as well. When I can go into these periods of closed heart energy, and I only kind of realized it this morning because I've remembered this before. Say, for example, like, you know, I could go through a period of not feeling my twin's energy as much, and then I'll start to feel it randomly and so intensely. And then I say to myself, Jesus, you know, maybe I was a bit closed off. And that's what I realized this morning when this energy started coming back in. I was like, you know, it's not that we had a disconnect, it's that I was disconnected from myself. And I read something yesterday and it sat with me, but I didn't resonate with it at the time. You know, it's like, be careful not to close your heart to your twin, make sure your heart is still open. And I have been in I felt like I was in heart open energy. But when I can feel his energy really intensely this morning, I was just kind of saying to myself, okay, maybe I was closed off. So that it's very important to kind of to be aware of what you're feeling or what you're not feeling. If you feel a disconnect from your twin, you're actually disconnected from yourself. And that's the thing, you know. So was I disconnected from my own heart chakra? Was I disconnected? Was I closed in my closed heart energy? And, you know, I think it's a part of the journey for us to go into these periods of disconnect from our twin, as in telepathically. Do you know, it's a part of the kind of trust the process energy. But today I was kind of thinking to myself, is it because I was a little closed off? You know, was I not feeling him because I was disconnected from my heart and myself? Because that post yesterday, it's kind of playing around in my mind now this morning. Do you know what I mean? It's like, maybe I was just disconnected from me. You know, if our heart is closed up a little bit, we can't actually feel that energy as intensely. Do you know, unless it's the random regret or the random emotions that come in. But we have to understand that we are soul connected to them. So what we feel, they feel as well. You know, so this is a good way of working through what we need to heal. So, you know, when you're going through this, you know, ask yourself, is this mine or is this them, theirs? Is this something I need to heal or is this something they need to heal? And, you know, you can actually help heal them through your own healing. So, you know, what I say to the angels is, you know, please help me lift any energy that's not my own, send healing to my twin, and help me heal anything that is mine. But it's a great way to go within anyway, because, you know, the way I see it anyway, if that regret and pain comes up over something that he did, and I believe that I've healed it, I still believe that when it's coming up for him, it's coming up for me. You know, that it's just coming up in a new layer. Because one thing we forget is that everything they feel, we feel, but everything is a reflection. It's a mirror. So every pain they're going through, every healing layer they're going through is another healing layer that we need to go through. And that was the thing that kind of come up. I was triggered this morning. You know, not only was I feeling his energy intensely again, it triggered me because I was like, shit, is my heart closed at the moment? You know, it's really open this morning because I can feel him again. But has my heart actually been closed off lately? You know, because when we sit there and we say to ourselves, why is nothing happening? You know, I feel like I'm in good energy. Everything's going well in my life. You know, I feel like I'm ready for union. And then obviously some other trigger comes up and you're like, oh, maybe I'm not ready. You know what I mean? And I do believe that I'm ready, but maybe my heart was closed off a bit. Because I find this happens all the time, right? We'll go through a period of separation and we're doing our healing. Obviously, the start of the separation will be extremely emotional, or, you know, we're working through those healings and those triggers. But then we go through this complete zen, this calmness, and we're like, yes, I'm ready for union. Everything's okay. And then you don't realize, then it gets kind of longer and longer. And you're like, you know, why haven't I heard from him yet? Jeez, it's been another week. Shit, are they ever going to get back to me? And that's another, like, you know, I don't know why did this is funny. Why did I feel these feelings yesterday or last week? And why did I have to wait another week for them to be triggered? But this is the thing. Well, even we can go through this complete calm, knowing, and zen, and then to be re-triggered again. And then that's a reminder of what we actually need to heal. And I do this over and over again. And it's just like, oh, I thought I was ready. And then it's like, bang, another fucking trigger. And it's just like, oh, what do I have to heal now? You know, and that's the thing with me this morning. I'm like, was my heart closed off? Did I not realize my heart was closed off? You know, and I've been going through a bit of stress over the last few weeks. It's happy stress and unhappy stress mixed into together, like, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, for the last month I've been so busy with my work, and I've been so busy, you know, trying to, I suppose, I figure out my direction, figure out where to go in. My body's been tired, I've been wrecked, and, you know, I've been a little bit disconnected, and I didn't even know I was disconnected because I've been feeling really happy at the same time. And it was only this morning that when I was, you know, going over the content for this, I was just like, oh my God, have I just been so busy with my own life that I've disconnected? And like, this is the thing, and I know it's a bit of a contradiction, because what we're supposed to do is disconnect. We're supposed to surrender, but we're supposed to surrender with our heart open. So was I surrendered in a closed heart energy? That's the question I had this morning. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh. So that's a reflection of them as well, because we can go through these periods of closing our heart. We can go through these periods of not feeling their energy. And I've had people ask me this before. I don't feel him for a long time. I don't feel them lately. Like, is there something wrong? And I believe every period of disconnect is a test to how you feel. Just because we might not feel them energetically right now doesn't mean that they're gone anywhere. It just means that you have more to look within it, and you have more to heal. And it's funny because, as I said, like, everything could be going okay in your life, everything is flowing properly in your life, and you don't actually realize until you start to get those little questions up again. It's like, shit, it's been another week. Are they going to be back in contact? Is this over? Will I ever see them again? And those doubts coming back in are a sure sign that there's more to be healed. And it's just to, I suppose, what's the word? It's to be compassionate with yourself through that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I'll get angry and goes like, why didn't I know this yesterday? Why didn't I heal this a week ago? Do you know, this kind of energy? So, but I think everything happens as it's supposed to. The timing is perfect. All these synchronicities, all these triggers, all these healings, all this maybe disconnect phase, it all happens for a reason. So, trust that what you feel is what they're feeling, whether it's the sadness or the love. And trust that every trigger you go through is guidance to what you need to heal. But trust in when you do go through a little bit of a quiet time where there's less telepathic connection, trust that what you feel is still real. I think that's the biggest test of faith, is if we don't feel them energetically, we kind of question the whole fucking thing. We're like, oh my God, is this even real? Was I crazy? Oh my God, is this going to happen again? But I think it always comes back. It really does always come back. And I do believe that if we feel disconnected from them, that's a clear sign that we're disconnected from ourselves. So how do you reconnect with yourself? You work on your heart chakra. And that's the biggest one. And I actually, to be honest, it's funny when I do these videos, they actually help me as well. So obviously a lot of stuff that we go through is collective. And it's only after doing a video that I realized that I this is nurturing me, and this is helping me heal. But like I planned to do this video for last week. I have my topic written down for at least a week. And it's only this morning that I'm being triggered. And as I'm going through this video, I'm like, oh yeah, this is for me too. Oh my God, I need to remember this. So like, remember that, like, I can't remember what I was going to say now. But like, yeah, so every time we feel disconnected from them, this is where we have to trust. We have to trust what we feel is always real, even if on the surface right now it mightn't be there. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So if we feel disconnected from them, it's actually a disconnect from ourselves. And like, as I said, I only realized this today or through this video, is that I've actually been disconnected from my own heart. Oh yeah, that was it. I actually have what I get when I have heart chakra healing to do. I get a lot of upper back pain, or my shoulder blades, or I get tension around my heart chakra. This is higher heart and this is your heart chakra. So like, that was actually a clear sign lately. I had some work to do on my heart, but I didn't connect it to the fact that I was disconnected from my heart. So now I actually do know that. So that's a good way of understanding if you're going through any disconnect or feel a disconnect from your twin right now. That could be because you're disconnecting from your own heart, and it could be because you're actually closed off a little bit. Dang, I didn't even realize this until today. So yeah, I obviously have been disconnected from my own heart lately, so that's why I felt a disconnect from my twin. But remember that these periods of disconnect are here to show you what you need to heal. But always know any emotions that you feel, they're feeling too. Trust the process. The love you feel for them is the love that they feel for you. And remember, if they're on your mind constantly, which they are, that means you're on their mind constantly as well. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today, and I'll do nothing more than to help you in your path. I'd also like to mention that I'm doing my first webinar on the 8th of August, 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. I'll be speaking on healing after narcissistic abuse, inner child work, inner teen work, and shadow work. Hope to see you there. If you need any information, just comment below or comment on the post in my community posts.